So, the coroner report or the autopsy is out, but David's still free. How does that work? How does that work? So I'm like, okay, I have had a really busy week, but I'm back. God. It's been crazy, but I'm back. Hello, everyone. Hello. I love you all. I have like 3 shows today. We have Shoot Your Shot. Shout out to Tasha K and Dare King will be over there later on this evening in about 4 hours. So yeah, I guess I better get to work. I love you all. I was going to wait until more information comes out because y'all know how I am. I don't mind like speculating and assuming and stuff like that, but I'll be liking to know what the I am talking about. Okay, I'll be liking to know what I'm talking about, and it wasn't much,
you know, information. The Bluetooth device is connected successfully.
So if I was rudely interrupted, just hello. Anyways, I like to have facts, right? And the news and stuff already had us going around saying a whole bunch of stuff that wasn't true. Okay, like I told y'all, like we were talking the last time I was over here, I said a lot of people can be right, wrong at the same time, right? So because a lot of outlets is saying something doesn't make it true, right? The whole dismemberment thing. Look, actually, let me pull that up. Let me pull that up. Title of the show: Celeste Hernandez's body has been sent to her family. So that's how we know that the coroner slash autopsy report, because they would have to get both before sending the body to the family. They would need to get everything they need first, and then because she's buried afterwards. Okay. So that's common sense. It should be, but sometimes it's not. And so, with the body being sent to her home, God rest her beautiful soul. Um, we were assuming that the coroner's report was finished, which, again, obvious. So it was, and I haven't seen it with my own eyes. Now I've heard certain outlets talking about it, but I have not seen the black and white print myself. I haven't. So I can't tell you what's in the coroner's report and what's in the autopsy because I haven't seen it. But I will let the people that have, or and or know what they're talking about, allegedly, I'll let them speak on it. But it is weird that the police haven't said that there is a homicide investigation. Like, shouldn't this be? Because I was always told, okay, because again, I like receipts. I like receipts. So the coroner report is out there, but David has not been arrested. David is not a suspect as of still to this day. Correct. He is not a suspect. So the people going around saying that David is a suspect now because the autopsy report is that's not true. There are still no suspects, and the police have not officially come out and stated that this is now a homicide investigation. That is nowhere. That cannot be found. Fact. Okay, you can call the police department yourself, and they're going to tell you the same thing. that as of right now is a pending investigation. Not it is a homicide investigation, because they would be looking for information, right? Like tippers and people to call in and be like, hey, I know ... They would be looking for information, witnesses, all type of things. But that's not happening. I'm like, well, why not? Please hit the like, please hit the like, please hit the like. So I was very so much confused by that. Let's get into this, because I was told the autopsy report right here, the coroner's report right here. Now, I read this, a few days ago? Yes, on the 22nd. It says coroner's report will be the key to solving Celeste Hernandez's homicide investigation. It said that the coroner's report was going to be the key in solving the investigation. So I'm like, okay, well, we got him now, right? Because as of right now, David has been convicted by the internet. Ooh, God rest the soul. We're going to get you justice, baby girl. As far as we concerned, on the internet, you did it. Okay? But that's the internet, not real life legal proceedings. Because we really need to hit nothing else. As far as we concerned with these songs and, blah, 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 we're convinced, that you did it, But we need that to be held up in a court of law. Us internet detectives and whatnot, we only get so much credit. We're not doing the real investigation, because the majority of the people on the internet have already allegedly figured it out. They already know what that were. When they all going around talking about dismembered, when she wasn't. But again, there was other news publications stating TMZ, yeah, Harvey, yeah. And a lot of people was wrong, and we're gonna tap into that too. But let's get into what they were saying about the coroner's report and being the key, to solving everything. So it says the Los Angeles County Department of Medical Examiners list the Celeste Hernandez case as dash 14252. To the family, friends, and community members who loved her, however, she was much more than just a number. Hernandez, a teenager with a whole life ahead of her, went missing from Lake Elsinore in 2024. Investigators are now working to fill in the gaps and determine how she ended up in the trunk of a Tesla belonging to David, a rising star in the music business. Okay? The medical examiner's findings. Okay? Get into that. Celeste Hernandez's official date of passing is listed as September 8th, 2025. Because that is the date of death was pronounced. Confusing. I'm like, okay, how was that true? She was decomposed. What? Whatever. And so I'm saying, assuming they're saying that because that's the day that they found her deceased. So they're saying like that's her death day. Because that's the day she was found. Moving right along. Her body was reportedly badly decomposed, and it's likely she had been in the vehicle for a much longer time, obviously. The place of passing is listed as vehicle because that is where her body was found. The case is being investigated as a homicide. Okay, so again, the police did confirm that how they were conducting their investigation of finding her body as a homicide. So we're going to treat it as if we know for a fact that somebody took her life and put her here. That's how we're going to treat the case. Then how is David not in custody? How is David not in custody? Please hit the like, please hit the like, please hit the like. How is he not in custody? And again, I'm so annoyed with people saying, oh, well, they have to get the findings before they can prove that he took her life. We've already proven in the state of California, where he was seeing this young lady, that what he was doing to her was a crime. Okay? Like he needs to go register type of crime. Why isn't he being held just because of that. He should be in jail already because of that. While y'all conducting y'all investigation. Hello? Like, why he should be held just because of that? Like, is that not a crime anymore? Is it legal in California? I'm super annoyed by people think, oh, well, they got to get the autopsy back. What does an autopsy have to do about when she was alive? What does an autopsy have to do? When she was alive, he was committing a felony, being with her. He was dating a little girl, an 11-year-old. Hello? It's not a big deal anymore? Or do we want the big fish? The big fish is that he took her life. That's his only charge? Why y'all throwing a book at Diddy again? Okay, this is just weird. This is weird. The cause of the matter in passing have been deferred, which means the deputy medical examiner completed an examination, but the cause of death has not been determined. From what I gather, even still to this day, her cause of death has not been determined. Which, when people are just like, okay, well, why is he not arrested? Which is one of my questions, is because they don't know why she died. The medical examiner didn't come to a conclusion. And I think the medical examiner still hasn't come to a conclusion, because if you know why she's deceased, then the police have been working long enough to have enough evidence to be able to arrest someone. And they usually go to the closest, and the closest would have been David. So why is he not arrested? That's weird. Why is he not in jail? The deputy, due to the ongoing death investigation, the County of Los Angeles Department of Medical Examiner cannot disclose what testing or studies were requested. Deferred cases can take a few months before a cause of death is determined. So again, just because the coroner report is finished, just because the autopsy may have been finished, does not mean that a cause of death has been determined. That's the only reason I can see that he's not arrested. Because I'm just like, okay, well, what's going on? Why is there like a halt? Because it seems like a halt with the coroner's report being the key part to the investigation. Then shouldn't this be a green light? A green light to at least to get a search warrant for other things. He has 7 cars. Maybe there's some evidence in another car or something like that. Maybe it happened in another vehicle. Like, if they don't know what went down with her specifically, although they have a lot of things that they can go from, like they have the camera footage from the home, all of that. They have a lot to go off of. Also, the whole dismemberment part, okay, because I just wanted to read that part because at this point in time, the article is not updated to where it is now, to where the coroner's report is completed. And right now, the coroner's report has been completed. So let's get into a little of what was discovered before the coroner's report. While people are trying to go around and blame like YouTubers and stuff for misinformation, nah, it wasn't us, I promise. Is this it?
I was such an internet kid. The internet is really what I claim as my home. Like, if you ask me where I'm from, I say the internet. Because I was just online every day, doing my schoolwork, making songs, making a video, being a YouTuber, content creator, posting TikToks, posting on Instagram. Like, that's really my neighborhood was Instagram, and the society was the internet. You know what I'm saying?
We're digging into the relationship of singer David and Celeste. The 15-year-old girl's body was found in the trunk of his Tesla. We'll discuss the interesting connection that the two shared. Plus, a deadly shooting at a country club in New Hampshire. One man is killed, another man is charged. So what was behind the chaotic scene? And a history of child abuse claims. The Arizona father who's accused in the hot car death of his little girl is back in our spotlight this morning. This time for incidents that happened with his mistake older daughter. Also this hour, colorful characters, shall we say, in the machete murder plot trial. So could the optics...
Girl, can you get to what we talking about?
Opening statements. I'm Julie Grant. Yes, so let's get started as we always do. Grab that cup of coffee right now. Dead body in some Rivas Hernandez's car. Opening statement. Where
All
there's
this
smoke,
devastating
there
stuff.
is usually fire. And when there's a dead body in someone's car, that is some serious smoke. The investigation continues this morning into the discovery of 15-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez in singer David's abandoned car. The teen was reported missing on Valentine's Day in 2024, and while we still don't know how she died, Los Angeles police investigators are describing her body as severely decomposed and also dismembered.
What'd she say? So the people going around talking about some YouTubers going around with misinformation? No. The news. What did you say, girl?
She died. Los Angeles police investigators are describing her body as severely decomposed and also dismembered.
Okay, so it's not
Now,
us going around and making stuff
Coffee
up.
right now.
Y'all gotta cut that out. Y'all gotta cut that out. It's not YouTubers going around and saying that. The world was saying that, Craig. Okay? So y'all got now that's misinformation to go around saying, oh well, YouTubers are the ones that are going around saying she's dismembered, or I got y'all nerves.
It's time for my opening statement. Where there's smoke, there is usually fire. And when there's a dead body in someone's car, that is some serious smoke. The investigation continues this morning into the discovery of 15-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez in singer David's abandoned car. The teen was reported missing on Valentine's Day in 2024, and while we still don't know how she died, Los Angeles police investigators are describing her body as severely decomposed and also dismembered. Now, musician David, real name David Burke, has not been criminally charged. I want to be very clear on that. That being said, a lot can happen in 24 hours. We could potentially be covering a prosecution of him, potentially, depending upon what the investigation uncovers. So this morning, let's look at the smoke. Celeste had a boyfriend named David. David reportedly wrote an unreleased song titled Celeste in 2023. The two of them
But
had
here's
matching
another thing
tattoos.
too. Like, okay, why doesn't anybody talk about this? Because again, like I'm like, why is he not in jail? Like, why is he not in jail? Y'all see what this say? Y'all see what this say? Girl, it says, so this is from the U.S. Sun. A source who is close to Celeste's mother told the U.S. Sun her daughter ran away to be with David in April 2024. But she returned home, right? The source said Celeste eventually left home a second time and returned to David. The family members knew she was with him, the source told U.S. Sun. Someone called the family and told them to take down the missing posters and social media posts about her missing. The family complied and went silent until Celeste's body was found on September 8th. So a neighbor of Celeste's family, because this was who it was, a neighbor, said that someone, they didn't say David, but they said someone contacted them and told them to remove the missing persons ad of Celeste off of their social media and from off like the posts and stuff in town in Lake Elsinore. And the family complied and went silent. And that's true because they weren't saying anything. The family didn't say anything about her missing. They didn't do anything to raise awareness to try to get her home, nothing. So it's like, why isn't it? Celeste's mother is not going to make this easy to solve this case. It's not going to be easy because she's super incriminated. every day. I dislike her more and more. Again, the source said family members knew she was with him. The source told the Sun, so they knew exactly where she was at. Someone called the family and told them to take down the missing posters and social media posts about her being missing. Obviously, the family complied because of how long she was missing. She was missing over a year. Why weren't you putting up ads and creating awareness for your missing child? Because you knew where she was. It's hard to look for something you know where it's at. It's hard looking in all the wrong places on purpose when you know exactly where to go. You know exactly where to find, what you were looking for. So, yeah, I'm like, why don't people talk about that more? Why is this mom not being arrested? I don't understand it. I really don't understand it. But that's proof that, we didn't start the fire. we didn't start going around saying dismembered, and all of that. Not at all. We're gonna listen to an update in this case, but before we do, let's get into this. Because you know me, I'm all for what's real, what's tangible. Let's get into the facts of this case. Okay, no, not that. Not yet. Let's get into the facts. Okay, right here. Oh yeah, God, let's talk about that. All the YouTubers going around saying that Celeste was at the concert is why I didn't bring it up and why I didn't say anything, is because that wasn't her. That wasn't Celeste. Now, I don't know if it was the other Celeste, but it wasn't the Celeste, and I should pull up the video so I can show you what I mean. But they're confirming like that was not her, that she was not at that concert. I don't see why people would have a reason people would have to lie. From what I gather, it was the duplicate. The duplicate of what? Because from what I saw, it was like, yeah, that is not her. That wasn't her. Favored, but I guess it wasn't her. Why didn't the mom file a report against David? Because they're in cahoots. In so many ways, she sold that baby. Like, let's not even play. In so many different ways, it's proven that she sold the young lady, because basically, she was a baby to me, to David. She didn't file any report besides a missing person to protect herself. That was protection of herself, not of anybody else, not even of David. So this video that has gone viral of David's brother up there on the balcony with a young lady up there, and they said that now she do look a lot like Celeste. I was like, damn, y'all sure that ain't her? But upon further research, that is not Celeste. It is not her. So the theory of people going around saying that that was the day that she passed away, it's a theory, but it's not her. So she may have been out and about that day, but she wasn't at that concert. She wasn't there. She wasn't. And that has been proven. Hold on. There are other sources stating the same.
Today, I reached out again to a couple.
Oh, hold on. What's the... Oh, right here.
TMZ, and TMZ has owned this story right from the outset.
Oh, not
so here's
owned
some
it.
of my latest conversation with executive producer Charles Sadabodier. Well, I was so excited when I saw some video that purported to be video of potentially Celeste in the balcony at one of his concerts over the summer, which would have given us some timeline. It just didn't seem to pan out, though.
Yeah, I get why people online were really into this video and thought that this was going to be critical to the investigation. There is this woman, the video is David in concert from, it's either August 23rd or 24th. He had two shows in Silver Springs, Maryland. And there's a woman in the balcony who he actually acknowledges looks up at her. She certainly could have been Celeste. It looked like it. And a lot of people immediately latched onto this. But we have been told by a source that is connected to the case that it is not Celeste, and therefore it doesn't do what we hoped it would do, right? That if this actually were her, then we would know that she was killed within a roughly 10-day period. At some point during those 10 days would have been when she was killed.
There is rampant speculation and theorizing and conspiracy theories online, and a lot of it has to do with pictures that people think are Celeste. And it's really clear to me that there are several different people in his world that look like her. For instance, the video of one of the songs has a girl who looks exactly like Celeste, the same hair, and it is not her. Her credit has a whole other name at the end of the video.
Yeah, we, that was when we saw that rumor online. We looked at that video one day and broke it down. We watched it backwards.
So again, there are seven, God, different women that he has around him that are decoys. So he did that on purpose, okay? That is Predator Rule 101, is you have other people around that are adults that look similar to the individual. So if somebody sees you out and about with this person, they'll think that it's one of them than who you really with, which would be Celeste 1 instead of Celeste 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's like an illusion, is what they try to create.
Put it down, we froze on it, and really people looked at it for a while and they're like, it could be her, but yeah, it's, look, you have a Latina young girl with curly hair, immediately everyone goes, oh, that must be her, because everyone is wanting to make links here, and like that's what happened with the video from his concert. Look, it's just hard to tell, and the reason normally we can verify these things because you can speak to someone who knew, you can speak to a family member, you can speak to someone who was at the event, and those people have not been coming forward. And obviously some of her family members, her brother spoke to NBC here in Los Angeles, but not on camera.
And very early on.
So it's just hard to find these people.
You know what, Charles? It's giving Idaho 4 vibes, because the entire University of Idaho shut down. Kids wouldn't talk. And that's not normal in our line of work. Kids always talk, especially teenagers and older teenagers and 20-somethings, they talk. But in Idaho, nobody, the police, the city, the university, the parents, everybody was locked down by the police and by the administrators, probably for good reason. It certainly preserved the prosecution. This might be.
But see, what ends that narrative is that Celeste's mother has not had much contact with the police. She hasn't had much contact with them, besides filing the online, and it was more like an online police report. Her daughter, when she filed the police report for her daughter missing, it wasn't in person. It was online. So she went online and filed a missing person report. Again, protection for herself. Most parents would be, even if you are an illegal, you would be in front of that camera protecting your kid, trying to get your kid justice. But it's hard to do when you are involved. She is involved in more ways than one. So it's hard for her to come forward and try to campaign for her daughter when she is in the wrong. She's one of the people that could have prevented this and didn't. She didn't stand in the way. The person that could give him the most grief was being paid. She was getting financial compensation. Now that's something that hasn't been proven that I agree with. That is true. I do believe that she was, because what other reason would she have just allowed her kid to go? Why raise her other children and keep her other children in the home, wrestling teams, all those there in sports, all that. But with Celeste, it's just not giving that. Why not? And let's not forget, this isn't the first male adult that has been in Celeste's life. Gustavo was murdered, but he allegedly R-worded her. So this is the second man to come into her life and do this. So that it means it's a pattern. Why? Why wasn't she looked after? Why wasn't she protected? Why did you feel the need to allow her to go and be with him? It makes sense. Her friends stated the whole time they were in contact with her until about the end of August. The friends that she was still talking to from home. They said that they were talking to her nonstop, pretty much, like whenever, just random text messages, random phone calls, and whatnot, and then they just stopped. And that was in August. So that gives a pattern that it stopped in August. I don't feel that it was just her siblings. Her friends that she was keeping in contact with, she still spoke to her brother, she still spoke to her sister. So I feel that she still spoke to her mother too. So she knew exactly where she was, 100%. She was getting
Players
paid.
involved.
She was definitely getting paid. Hi, Rabbit. I love you, Rabbit. Again, remember, it's Shashan's birthday month. Parents! And my girl, shout out to my babes down the rabbit hole news. Y'all get over there and subscribe to her. That is my girl, okay? And she be over here eating the stories. So y'all make sure y'all get over there, okay? She be eating all the stories. Rabbit be down the hole. You understand? Rabbit be down that rabbit hole. You understand me? So shout out to my girl. But yeah, I'm just like, the mother was getting something out of this. 100%. There's no way that girl was gone for that long and you reap no benefit. Lies.
Down by the police and
lies.
Told, do not speak.
Yeah, it could be. It could be that. It could be that they are getting, legal advice from someone telling them, aside from the police telling them that they shouldn't be talking about it. We did get one person to talk, and this is not a family member, but someone who knows the family. We spoke to the owner of a liquor store that is on the block, same block, in Lake Elsinore, where Celeste and her family lived. And he told us he was very familiar with the kids in the neighborhood because the school bus stopped right in front of his liquor store every day, and kids would come in, not for liquor, but come in to buy soda and candy and things like that. And he said that back in March of 2024, at a point when Celeste was missing, her sister came into the store and asked the liquor store owner, "Hey, have you seen her?
Oh.
Do your security cameras perhaps have any footage of her?" He told us that he went back.
Now, this sister went looking for Celeste because it's been rumored from the jump. It's been rumored from the jump that the sister put her up to it. Okay? And that's not a rumor. Her sister told her to go get down with the get down. Okay? She told her everything that she needed to know. Well.
His request, and he did look, and on March 19th, 2024, he did see her in front of the store, go across the street, and then down the street a bit, and get into...
Do y'all hear this? Do y'all hear this? Shout out to Leah. Thank you so much. Oh, thank you. She's happy belated birthday. Thank you. I deserve. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, so if the sister went into the liquor store near where the daughter was, which was Celeste, her sister, then why would she not be a part of it? You know your sister's missing. You know your sister is not where she's supposed to be at, where your family is lying, telling other family members she is, because you got to think about that. It's not just the outside world once you hear that somebody's missing. The core, the village, is going to wonder where she is. You can't just question the mother. If Celeste was gone for over a year, that means nobody in the family saw her. The cousins that she used to stay with and whatnot, where she didn't run away, nobody saw her. So your whole family know this girl just gone. No holidays, nothing, no birthdays, nothing. But y'all don't know why? She goes missing. The sister goes to a liquor store near where her sister would be, looking for her. Like, have you seen her? This is after her sister went missing. So this is recent. This isn't like, oh, last year she came into the store. No. This year. So just a few weeks ago. Not even a month has passed that she was in a liquor store asking questions. Left the liquor store, and what else? Listen, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's clues, it's hints out here to let you know that the family knew.
You've seen her.
Hold on.
And he told, aside from the police.
And this is a
down
witness.
by the police and by the administrators, probably for good reason. It certainly preserved the prosecution. This might be what's happening here, that the players involved have been locked down by the police and told, do not speak.
Yeah, it could be. It could be that. It could be that they are getting, legal advice from
Listen.
someone telling them, aside from the police telling them that they shouldn't be talking about it. We did get one person to talk, and this is not a family member, but someone who knows the family. We spoke to the owner of a liquor store that is on the block, same block, in Lake Elsinore, where Celeste and her family lived. And he told us he was very familiar with the kids in the neighborhood because the school bus stopped right in front of his liquor store every day, and kids would come in, not for liquor, but come in to buy soda and candy and things like that. And he said that back in March of 2024, at a point when Celeste was missing, her sister came into the store and asked the liquor store owner, hey, have you seen her? Do your security cameras perhaps have any footage of her? He told us that he went back at the sister's request and he did look. And on March 19th, 2024, he did see her in front of the store, go across the street and then down the street a bit and get into someone's car. He said by the time she got in the car, it was out of focus of his security camera, so he couldn't tell what kind of car it was or who else was in the car.
For 2 weeks.
So again, if the sister going and question the man at the liquor store, do you really think that she questioned the man because she don't know where her sister at? She know exactly where her sister was. You're talking to her. Your whole family talking to her. You went to the liquor store to see if she was on camera at all. That's it. Covering y'all tracks. To see if you were on camera or if David or whoever with the handoff happened to make sure said person wasn't on camera. You didn't go because you knew she was gone. You've been talking to her this whole time. So why would you be going around acting like alibi purpose? Because you can definitely use them as that as an alibi to be like, look, I was looking for her. I went to the liquor store and asked the liquor store man if he had footage of her, blah, 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 2 birds, 1 stone. And then also to see what footage does he have. That's another thing. Like, okay, well, what do you got? Let's see who was on camera. But he said that she got into a car from what it seemed, but it wasn't focused enough to see like what kind of car, license plate, anything like that, which is mighty convenient. But not on his behalf. I don't feel like that man had anything to do with it. But I do feel that it was more so of her checking, because there may not be many places in the area with outdoor cameras or with cameras nearby to where it must be like a busier area to where, because it's a smaller town, but busier area in the small town that may be surveillance, that has surveillance. So I believe that's why, because you already knew what was up. So it gives that you're doing this to cover your tracks, you and your mom's tracks. Because why wasn't the mother, she ain't been nowhere asking nobody nothing, as far as we're concerned. She ain't been looking for her. The missing ads of her, again, it was requested that the family take them down, which makes sense if they haven't been looking for her, but have reported her missing. How do you report someone missing when you're not looking for them? Like, that's crazy work. Again, it says, and this was to the U.S. Sun, a source who is close to Celeste's mother told the U.S. Sun her daughter ran away to be with David in April 2024. Now, this would be around the same time that the sister went to the liquor store man and asked him to see the surveillance cameras around the area to see, because her sister was missing and whatnot. So it's like, y'all already knew what was, because she returned home. Yeah. The source says Celeste eventually left home a second time to return to David. Now, I feel like when Celeste left that second time, because Celeste said in those messages, allegedly, those text messages, like put those up too, that the reason that she did it with David was because the first time she went down there, she chickened out. She didn't have SDX with him. And he had got mad. So I think that that's why she went back home, because he sent her back home like, oh, you ain't even, And I believe that her sister encouraged her, go back this time, and this is what you do. Because from day one on Discord and on Reddit, it's rumored that her older sister had been pimping her to David. Now, that's just a rumor, but that's what was being said. So it would fit the narrative if she went home and then her sister encouraged her to go back. Like, no, go back because we need to get this money. We need to get this money. So you need to go back there and this is what you need to do. And she went back. And when she went back, she didn't come back. She stayed. She said that's why she did it. And the message is Celeste. She said she did it because he got mad the first time. So this time around, I'm going to just do what he wants. Girl, la 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 la. The source says Celeste eventually left home the second time with David and returned to David. Okay, there are multiple, I think there's 3 missing persons reports for her. I think it's 3. Is it 2? I know it's 2 for sure. I know 2 for sure. One was for April and one was for May, I believe. Same year, 2024. Yeah. Which also doesn't make sense because he had met her at 11. Not only was they talking, they had met. They met. Please hit the like, please hit the like, please hit the like. That's why I found it weird when the brother had said that he had met David. I'm like, how can y'all meet the person that's not, because all y'all knew. Everybody. So the cousin's the one that got the GoFundMe. Y'all not gonna, because again, y'all said that the girl lives with y'all. So if she lived with y'all, then somebody should have been checking on her. Somebody should have been calling to at least say happy birthday or Merry Christmas, you know? And it don't seem like none of that was going on. Why would you willingly give a girl back to, and she had already allegedly, from what was reported, been R-worded by this man, Gustavo. That had already happened. So it's why even in the care of her mother. So something ain't adding up here. This don't make sense because this poor girl just been just tossed and thrown and just to the highest bidder. It gives sold. Do y'all feel it's like the family of her? Hernandez. You motherfuckers. Do y'all feel like because a price tag was not on her? Because see, the first thing y'all did, y'all begged more than y'all looked for this damn girl. The only thing that y'all have successfully done is raise money in her name. Say Celeste's mother didn't want to go to the vigils. She wasn't ready. Okay. Where y'all at? The cousins and the aunties that got these GoFundMes, where y'all? It's weird that y'all so quick to raise money and shit in this girl's name, but did nothing to protect her. Nothing. And you don't have to know the whole situation to know that there's a fucking situation. Her staying with y'all, her running away, her not wanting to leave y'all house, those are signs that the girl don't need to be with those people. She don't need to be over there. You keep her. Even if you don't want to, you keep her. If she's comfortable here, if she feel like where y'all at is home, y'all should have kept her there. But then the first thing y'all want to say is the mom. We know she ain't shit. What's y'all excuse? All right. We know she trash. What about y'all? Because it take a village. So you don't just get to blame the person. You got to blame the village. Because all of y'all could have done something. Somebody. And she's older. So it's not like y'all got to change diapers and babysit and all of that stuff. No, she old enough to basically be able to look after herself. And you just guide her. She was at that age. Well, 11, 12 years old, you're more so guiding the kid than raising them, at that point. Was she too much? They said she only weighs 70 pounds. pounds, so she couldn't have been much to feed. Give her a little piece of the burrito. She can't have a steak quesadilla, but just make her a cheese one, as long as she eat. So I'm like, yeah, what about y'all? But y'all so quick to have y'all hand out. Y'all ain't buried until October 4th. Y'all had plenty of time to do a GoFundMe. Hell, technically, you can start the GoFundMe right now, and it will still have the same results. Because people want to look after Celeste. People want to make sure that Celeste is buried. Are y'all even coming to the fucking funeral? Y'all ain't been to nothing else. Y'all ain't been to nothing else. Are y'all even coming? Got y'all nerve. Please hit the like, please hit the like, please hit the like. I'm just saying. Y'all ain't been to nothing else. So are y'all going to that? Or y'all just setting it up for the public? Y'all gonna come say y'all piece of y'all goodbyes in the morning. Who gonna speak on her behalf? At the, like, are y'all okay? Weird. But we're not supposed to say nothing. Why wouldn't we? I'm going to hear something about a family member, unless it's distant, being gone for over a year. And then to turn a blind eye to it. And I believe the whole family did. I believe the whole family turned a blind eye to it because they looked at in some way, shape, or form that this was a family's meal ticket. Please hit the like, please hit the like, please hit the like. That's how I look at it. In some way, shape, or form, they looked at that girl being with him as a meal ticket. That all of them was going to be looked after. That all of them was going to be okay. Because why would everybody just allow it? You got to have a reasoning to, I believe that that's how they looked at it. It's like, oh, her being with him, a biggity biggity bop bop. Her being with him is going to be good for her. Her being with him, she's going to have this and she's going to have that and da-da-da. We get to come visit and spend the night. That's the only thing I can see. And it is a private family. So it's not like they come from money, or anything like that. So they could have looked at it as the meal ticket. Because all it takes is one to blow for the, other people to profit off of it. So they looking at little small business loans and, all of that, girl. That, because you got to be getting something out of it. Something. It doesn't make sense to just let this man come in and just take over this little girl's life like that. Like, and all the adults just stood around and watched. Crazy work. Let's get into this autopsy or coroner's report.
To know that a dead body does not stand a chance.
Great.
When stuffed into the trunk of a black Tesla and left in the Los Angeles.
Oops.
You don't have to be
Girl.
a medical examiner to know that a dead body does not stand a chance. When stuffed into the trunk of a black Tesla and left in the Los Angeles heat in August. The natural process of decomposition goes into overdrive. And so it did with Celeste Rivas Hernandez. Her body had decomposed so badly that when it was found on September 8th, one day after her 15th birthday, some reports said only a head and torso was found. Had she been dismembered? Or was the decomposition so bad that her head and torso were all that could be recognized at first? Investigators continue to list the young victim's cause and manner of death as deferred, meaning undetermined, but they've also now returned Celeste's remains to her family.
So again, it's deferred. Until the medical examiners be able to state what and why and how, no arrest. No arrest. They can do no arrest as long as it says deferred. That's not a homicide. And homicides are usually obvious. They're usually obvious. So what is this? The plot thickens because the report is done. So if it was, strangulation or unshot or, stabbing, something like that, we'll know. They said dismembered when it was even reports of people saying that she was dismembered while she was alive. It's like, what? What? Isn't that like auto-murder? If you're dismembering a person while alive, so why would it say deferred? Why wouldn't it state that cause of death dismembering? Like, loss of blood due to dismemberment. You know what I'm saying? Like, there would be not deferred. So the people that's going around, oh yeah, she was alive while they're fucking chopped her body up. Like, yeah, no. That didn't happen. Not at all. Did they eat her? No. They did not eat her. That's another thing that could be labeled as a homicide. Cannibalism, stuff like that. No, it was not cannibalism. No.
Women are able to fill in all those
deferred
blanks? Or did they have to give up looking because the answers are impossible to get? My next guest is the perfect person to ask all about this. Joseph Scott Morgan is a certified death investigator and the distinguished scholar of applied forensics at Jacksonville State University. He also hosts the extraordinarily popular podcast.
No, I'm serious. Hold on. I
Bags.
can pull that up too. Hold on 1 second. I can pull that up too. It says that it is deferred. Yeah. It says that it is deferred and that, hold on. It didn't state exactly why. It didn't state exactly why it's deferred. But it's inconclusive, as of now. They don't know what happened. At first I thought, well, maybe is it the decomposition? But from what it seems, and the internet has made a fucking mess of this case. Y'all is ruining my case. Oh, Lord, they ruining my case. Oh, my God. Oh, my God, they ruining my case. Y'all are ruining my case. Okay? Okay? Because the Los Angeles police, said that no one is a suspect as of right now. Now, are there people that they're looking into? Yes. But is it someone right now that just be like, you took her life? No. We don't have anybody like that, is what the police are saying. This is why this coroner's report was so important. That's why it was important. Okay? But you got the internet police out here trying their hardest to piece this together. Okay? And they're doing a bad job of it. Because if you weren't around her, then you have no idea her last days, last hours, last minutes. You don't know. This is why cameras, surveillance cameras, stuff like that is important because cameras don't lie. They're going to tell the story. And what happened to her, whether it was an argument as they were leaving or something like that, or people kept leaving with suitcases, but she never came back out. For real. There's ways of determining that type of stuff. And I highly doubt they took her body out there in a bag. I highly doubt that. I believe it was transported there and put into a bag and then later on put into the car. I don't think that it was always in that Tesla. I don't feel that way. I feel that it was put into the Tesla around the same time that he said that damn Tesla was missed and abandoned because it was never reported missing. Although many reports online say that he did report it missing. No, he did not. There is no police report stating that David had a stolen car and or abandoned. No. He did not have a missing vehicle according to the law. Now, maybe at his house, but not according to the police. Okay, they weren't looking for no damn Tesla. They weren't looking for one. Okay? A black one. Because what they want reported? What they're gonna look for a car that they don't know to look for? As far as they're concerned, it was somebody either out joyriding or just driving a Tesla. You know, it could be a police officer could have been right behind a Tesla. Have no idea it's stolen because it's not listed that. So they run the plates or anything like that. It's just plates running back normally. If nobody got like a warrant or the registration's not up to date or, you know, tabs ain't bad or lights are out, you know, for normal traffic reason, violation to pull a person over, they're just gonna let them go. They have no reason to pull them over for what? We don't know the car can stole. Will we mind readers now? We don't expect the police to read his mind. So yeah, it was never reported. Fact. Pull up a police report. Many people say, and David reported the car stolen. Where's this police report? Where? What county? Because the car was registered to Texas. In Texas. It wasn't even registered in California. It had a Texas plate. Fact. So he wouldn't have reported it missing in California unless it got stolen in California. Moving right along. So again, as far as they're concerned, they have no idea. I think Celeste was unalive around late August, early September. I feel like it was the 24th. People say that footage from the TMZ and what TMZ, well, the footage that people were putting up of her at the concert with his brother, they said that was her. No, it wasn't. If Maurice heard, like, she was already gone. I think that was David, you know, with his sick plan. That was Atami up there waving at the Celeste doppelganger because it wasn't her. Why is there a girl that looked just like Celeste on this balcony at your show? Because he wasn't sending hearts because he did the heart thing. He wasn't doing that to his brother. Very gay. Very gay. Mm-hmm. Very gay. Tuck your gay in. It's showing. Tucking your gay, bro. Very gay. Like, why are you sending him hearts? Like, he know you love him, fucker. You ain't got to do all that. He was doing it to the look-alike. He was doing it to the doppelganger. That's what that word. She was already gone. Y'all know he's sick. Y'all know he's demented. So that was because, you know, like he said, and I didn't regret it. Like, girl, he said he didn't regret the shit. Girl, he said, I held you. He admitted it. And he said he don't regret it. So why wouldn't the doppelganger one of the 7? He waving up there too. Of course, she was gone already. Y'all got your nerve. Y'all got your nerve. So why wouldn't? Celeste. Elementary school Celeste. Why would? Kindergarten Celeste. Why wouldn't he have been sending hearts and stuff up there to the girl? His next album's gonna be called Nan Nana Boo Boo. So yeah, of course he want to make it look like she was still alive. He gonna go to court. I don't know what y'all talking about. Here go my Celeste right here. Come here, baby. Yeah, this is who I was with. I don't know who you guys are talking about. Okay? But we have a 1-year-old together, about to turn 2. Because he ain't batting an eye. He act like he don't know who we talking about. He do. He ain't said a word. Ain't said sorry for the loss, nothing. He act like, you know, we was involved with her, not him. I guess we went with Celeste. Hell. I'm like this, David, hello? Now you don't know her? Now you don't know her? Weird. Did you meet your trainer? You remember that? You remember that? Got your nerve. Ain't said nothing. And that's worse to me. Worse to me. to say nothing. But I think that he gonna try to make it seem like all of these doppelgangers that he done had around this girl, that's who he was with this whole time. I wasn't with no Celeste. No. Mm-mm. I wasn't with that one. Mm-mm. I don't know her like that. I don't know her family. Who? Why am I even here? Who am I? Yes, Guerrero. That's where we at.
Death investigator and the distinguished scholar of applied forensics at Jacksonville State University. He also hosts the extraordinarily popular podcast Body Bags with Joseph Scott Morgan. And he's a friend of mine and a friend of the show. It's good to have you back, Joe Scott. Let's get right to it. That the body has been returned.
Hold on, y'all, because I'm not about to hit this
family.
shit. Hold on.
Would they list the cause and manner of death the minute they find it? Or the fact that it's not listed and the remains have been returned, does that mean we're not going to get it?
No, I don't know that it necessarily means that we're not going to get.
It's just going to take forever. Shut up. I want to hear that.
However, it might be vague. We might hear things like homicidal trauma and non-specific homicidal trauma, perhaps. But here's something I want you to understand. If you look at the flyer that they put out, when she was missing, you notice her weight? It was 120.
Yeah.
Now,
was it like 70 pounds or something crazy?
Right. When they recovered her remains, Ash, 71 pounds. That's 49 pounds she's missing. So what can we determine from that? Well, we've heard reports of dismemberment, and there was one report from the police that said the body was not intact. So either we're missing something or she's in such an advanced state of decomposition. And look, I don't want to go too far over the top here, but bodies do have a tendency to break down and even liquefy to a certain degree. And in this heat, and I even remember in August, I've got friends in LA, and they were talking about it was a record-breaking heat wave that they were in during this specific period of time.
And that is very true. That is very true. I saw videos of how hot it was down there. And not just California. It was Arizona. It was really hot recently, like in August, in the end of August, and pretty much all of, end of July, pretty much all of August was really hot down there. So that body being inside of the trunk, and she was already smaller, having a frame and only weighing about 120 pounds. Yeah, it is easy for her. And she could have lost like maybe 10 pounds since the flyer. You know, she could have lost weight or gained, who knows? And it's really easy for the body that's already decaying for that to speed up with heat and a lot of it. You know, if you can fry eggs and stuff in places where it gets so hot to where you can drop an egg on the hood of a car and it start to fry, like it be that hot, because that's how hot it just was down here. Imagine a body decaying inside of a vehicle to where the sun is just all day shining right on top of it. You know, and there's no clouds, there's no precipitation, you know, nothing to cool things off. It's just hot and like a dry hot, you know, not a humid hot, just a dry hot to where it's going to make it extremely humid inside of where she was. So it can cause things, body parts that are already decaying to liquefy. And if they're already smaller, like she was a small girl, she had a small frame. So it's not going to take much for it to. So this is crazy weird. They didn't care about this girl at all.
Particularly decomposition.
Well, we all know how hot a car can get.
Yes.
This is a black Tesla. It is the trunk. It is outside, likely in late August, early September in LA. Can you give me an idea of how fast a body can be in advanced or liquefied decomposition in that kind of an environment?
Yeah, relatively quickly. And if she's been packaged like in plastic in any way, that's also going to cause the body to sweat as well, contained within that within a plastic packaging. I had heard some indication that may have occurred. And again,
I'm definitely going to say this. Whoever did this to her, even if it was David, they really thought about this before they did it. This is what makes me think David did it even more. Because they really thought about this. David has not said a word, right? Now, to some people, of course, like me, it's gonna be like, we're gonna look at it as bad because like you could at least say something. But to somebody that wants to stay innocent and wants to stay out of jail, you say nothing. Okay? You say nothing at all. And because there's nothing to use against you. You know, what are they gonna use against you? If you said nothing, what they got? You know? And the internet has already made him out to be guilty, you know, of said crime. He can use all of that to his benefit. He really can. You know, with jurors and whatnot, it would be extremely hard to choose now because how big this story has become and how he has been placed. He's not even a suspect, but has been listed one due to social media. So whoever did this fully thought this out, and David did not do this alone. Because we're at the point now is, did he do it? Because if David did this to Celeste, what did he do if this hasn't been listed as a homicide? If it's deferred? It's not giving, we can't necessarily say he's guilty of anything at this point because we don't know what happened to her. So at this point, it'll be kind of his word against ours, which he's been at a disadvantage because he hasn't said anything. We don't know him to have done anything because nothing has been said that happened to her. The only crime right now is him being in a relationship with her, which, I mean, and her being put in that trunk, her being put in that car. Because if she, well, because I'm going to say, well, no, because even if she died in the car, it should have been reported. Like, it, you know. But what if that's what they did to her? Like, smothered her in a bag and put her inside of a trunk? Or put her in the trunk, she died in the trunk, and then they came and put her body in the bag. What if she was in that casket the whole time? Did they open that casket up at this? I'm gonna have to look. Because, I mean, they could have put her in the trunk, smothered her in there, because you're not getting out of it, you know. You in. She could have died in there. Because they said it's inconclusive because of her body, how decomposed her body was. So, well, how long was she in there? Did somebody put her in that trunk and she suffocated in the trunk? And then just placed her body inside of a bag after she passed? Because it couldn't have been, because the first reports made her passing sound gruesome. But from this coroner's report, for it to be deferred, it couldn't have been all that gruesome. It couldn't have been, besides like her body decomposing, of course. But because again, we think and dismember like she was in parts, you know, all of this she wasn't. Hearing things dismember like her torso, all of this just appeared with sound, and the stomach was missing, you know, pulled, you know, all that. Come find out, no, her body was intact. It was just decomposed badly. You know, these Hollywood corners paid off. That part. That part. Because I still don't believe Kim Porter diagnosis. And that came from where? California. I still don't believe lobar pneumonia bullshit. Yeah, I still don't believe that. So yeah, it's in and that's where Sean, he always been around the females or with curly hair, same complexion as Celeste. I believe that those women were decoys for like jail time and stuff like that. Create an illusion. Create an illusion and make it seem like he want to be in a relationship. I mean, like he in a relationship with other people, when the whole time he's dating this girl. So when people see them together, they assume, that is that, So if you hang out with somebody that has a very distinctive quality about them, like if you're dating a redhead or something like that, and everybody knows you're dating a redhead. So if you see me walking down the street with a redhead, you're even going to really look twice because you're going to already assume who I'm with, when it could be somebody completely different. Somebody completely different. You see me drive past and you see somebody in passion super red hair, you don't really see their face or anything like that. You're just going to assume that I'm with an adult. And I also think it's how he got her into places, how he got her into like certain concert venues and certain bars and stuff that he would go to and whatnot, because they even let a lot of like bars and clubs and whatnot. They let a lot of underage celebrities inside of their bars to drink, like the Justin Biebers and people like that. They were drinking way before their time. Way before. They were in clubs and bars and all that way before they were old enough to be in them. So a lot of clubs and bars will bend the rules for that celebrity clout. That because you can't buy a certain promotion, you got a celebrity want to come into your club for free, like they're not being paid to be there. They just here because they hear that this is the spot. You're really not good. Most of them aren't going to consider age. They're not going to consider them, nor the people that they are with. So I do think that he used other decoy women that were of age. So when they were being carded and stuff like that in places, that he could bring Celeste and she would go underneath the radar because he could be like, oh, I've been here with her before. Oh, y'all know who she is. She was just here, last week. I had her at this event or blah, 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 So people are confused. And as you see, people were confusing the two Celestes and whatnot, even in the stream. The other Celeste had her hair in two braids. His Celeste, the one who passed away, is Celeste Hernandez. She always had the curvy, wavy hair look. She always had that. You didn't see her with really any other hairstyles. Besides that one, you really didn't see it. That's why even in his videos, every doppelganger has hair just like hers. He does that on purpose. That was deliberate. I see someone in the chat says, do you think he did it? But we have to figure out exactly what he did first. But yes. Even if David didn't do it with his own hands, he knows exactly who did it and why. He had everything to do with this. Everything. This is way too big of a... I do look at it as like a master plan. But not really, because it's like you're going to lose more than you'll gain. Because at the end of the day, people still look at him as guilty. Like they're not going to... look at him as innocent. They're not. He is tainted. He is. And I definitely think his manager has everything to do with it. And I'm not going to say his manager did it, but I will say that his manager had everything. He had too much to lose. And I think, do we have any information on Gustavo? Yeah, he died in in Lake Elsinore. He was pow by another man. I mean, if I can pull it up real quick. But yeah, I just don't think, hold on, there was another comment I wanted to read. It was well planned. I would agree. It definitely was well planned to make it like his story against our story. It's like a master plan, but evil. 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 And he's been around Celeste, so there is no he's innocent. No. He either the mastermind behind the plan or the main accomplice to make sure that this was carried out. Okay? And never forget Atami. Never forget Atami. Hold on. Never forget Atami.
Me was writing a lot of things for it, and a big part of that manga was an evil version of me named Atami, which means pain in Japanese, and he wears his blindfold, and he's basically an agent of chaos and kind of my alter ego. When the story of the manga went like I was a detective and there was an evil version of myself that would kind of come out at random moments, kind of like Fight Club with Tyler Durden. And
So
he
he
would
said,
commit the crimes that
this
I
is
would
his
have to
alter
solve
ego.
as a detective. So like
he would commit the crimes that he would have to solve as a detective. So that's what I'm saying. This is somebody smart that is thinking this up. He committed a crime. His alter ego, Atami, commits this crime that happens to Celeste, and now he has to come through and figure out what happened. So if he's going to come through and be the detective to figure out what happened, he's going to know how to cross his I's, and dot his I's and cross his T's. So, meaning he was set up to get caught. He was always planning on getting caught. Most psychopaths do. They plan on getting caught. But he has an escape route for when he gets caught, is what it's giving me. It's kind of like OJ. It's kind of like, you know he did it, but like, did he? You know? It gives me OJ Simpson vibes. There's damning evidence, against OJ. Damning. But at the same time, it's like, what about this? What about that? What about this? What about that? So, right, Dexter show, Sharon. Right. And he's telling us, like, I commit the crime, and then I figure out what happens. But the difference is that, like he said, he compares it to Fight Club with Tyler Durden. When Tyler Durden in the movie Fight Club, he would wake up and have no idea what happened the night before. No idea. Not realizing that he knew the whole time, but he looked at Brad Pitt as another person when Brad Pitt was him. So he had to go around and figure out everything that Brad Pitt did, but he saw it. He was there. So you're going around collecting pieces and whatnot of a story that you already know the beginning, middle, and end to, because you were right here. You're just not taking the accountability for it because you have split your personalities. You have split them. To where now, when this personality is taken over, you have you're not consciously aware that another personality or part of you has taken over your mental. So in your mental state, it's like going to sleep at night, getting into bed, going to sleep, and all you remember is sleeping. That's it. You don't remember getting up 10, 15 minutes later, going to put on clothes, going to somebody's house and doing certain things, get back in the car. You remember none of that. You remember none of that. But you just wake up and there's blood and stuff on your hands and on your shirt. So now he, as being the detective, has to go figure out who he harmed, who life he took. Okay, that is him explaining that. He's literally explaining what happened to Celeste. But he didn't do it. Tommy did. You get it? Hold on.
I was writing a lot of things for it, and a big part of that manga was an evil version of me named Atami, which means pain in Japanese, and he wears his blindfold, and he's basically an agent of chaos and kind of my alter ego. When the story of the manga went like I was a detective and there was an evil version of myself that would kind of come out at random moments, kind of like Fight Club with Tyler Durden. And he would commit the crimes that I would have to solve as the detective. So like when I was as the detective, I'd be like solving murders that I'm committing myself. And it was like a cool little story. I didn't think anything would come of it. Like,
so if you're solving the murder that you're committing yourself, then you know all the breadcrumbs and stuff to follow to not get caught. See, this is super premeditated. This is why I've said in other lives, I feel that when he saw Celeste, when he saw this girl, let me pull this up. Well, we're going to finish listening to what we were listening to too. when he saw this poor girl, he saw his victim. When he saw her at 11 years old, he saw the girl that he was going to take out this plan on. He said, you know what? It's her. It's her. Big doe eyes, super innocent. It don't get more innocent. It don't get more innocent. This innocent baby. It's her. The big doe eyes, everything about her shows little girl. There's nothing about this picture that doesn't show a little girl. This is a baby. He didn't look at her as a baby. He looked at her as a victim. That's my victim. So when he was getting to know her on Fortnite at 11 years old, he was figuring out it because you need a lost soul. You need a damaged soul. You need somebody that is looking for a hero, looking for somebody to look after them, looking for a protector because they don't feel that they have it. So then you become that. So that was his way of manipulating, gaslighting her. I don't feel like he ever wanted to be with her because she would still be alive. Why is she gone? Why is she gone? There's no why, how. We don't know how. He never cared about her. Ever. She was a part of a bigger plan. This is what makes everything so eerie. You know, why people are just like, ugh. And then he's singing about going to jail and whatnot. Is he really, though? When he like, tell my mother and my father the same. You know, all of that, and I'm like, yes, his mammy knew. Yes, she knew. He said that the doctors let him out too early. I don't care what this mama say, what his mom say. Please hit the like, please hit the like, please hit the like. He is crazy, and she know he crazy. That is why she did not approve of the music videos and whatnot. And let's not forget, they're super religious. David's family is super religious. Everything he do don't have nothing to do with. They super religious. They are. You would think they were atheists. All the blood and putting bodies in trunks and all of this. Then all of a sudden they find this girl in the front of a Tesla. It's playing weird music. This was a stage play. To him, please hit the like, please hit the like, please hit the like. I feel like he always chose her, and he was always going to do this to her. This was always going to happen. This was never not going to happen. To make the music real. Art can imitate life. And this is what's happening. It's what makes it so eerie. He didn't put all of this stuff out here for nothing. Who do I put this girl in the trunk? How this girl and all the videos that look just like her? All that's on purpose. You do all of that, make it super obvious that this girl was in your life, even getting rid of all the discourse and stuff. Who was this girl in the video? Who was these girls that you keep, these lookalikes that you get? Where's the inspiration coming from? Where's it coming from? So y'all connected. Whether you don't want to be connected to her or not, you are. You are. And I'm a girl. It's deferred. Yes, the autopsy is deferred. Yeah. It's deferred. There's nothing of bullet wounds or a stabbing, a strangulation, nothing. It's deferred. The medical examiners don't know what happened to her. That's the autopsy. That's the coroner's report. There's no distinction in what happened to her. Yeah. They don't know. Yeah. Now, the autopsy is concluded, and so is the coroner's report. They're done. They sent her body to her family. So now that they're giving the family permission to bury her, that's why they sent her. That's why they gave her to the family. Her funeral was October 4th. So they still have plenty of time if they needed more time for more findings, or anything like that. The only thing that's not, as far as we're concerned, her whole body was intact. There was no abdomen missing. She was not dismembered. None of that. They're stating that because of her weight loss, or she was only 70 pounds when they weighed her. Her remains about 70 pounds. So yeah, they're assuming that because of the condition of where her body was in the trunk of a Tesla and how hot it was, that it may have liquefied parts of her body, which made her weigh less, because the missing persons ad stated she weighed 120 pounds. So 50 pounds was off of her body, which could have been, right, could have been blood loss as well, correct? Mm-hmm. Correct. And deteriorating skin and, meat to the bone, that's, decomposing, deteriorating. And it could have been liquefied due to like the heat and whatnot outside. So yeah, as of right now, the autopsy and or coroner's report has been deferred, meaning that they need more time to figure out why she died. At this moment in time, on September 25th, 2025, they have no idea why she died. Correct. No idea. It's only deferred when they need, and it could take months. So now I have not heard anything yet of a toxicology report. The toxicology report, that usually takes about 2-3 weeks before that comes. So maybe that will explain more if she was like poisoned or something like that, or something. But as of right now, correct, there have been no baby remains. There was nothing spoke of her being pregnant. She was not pregnant. She was not, now, unless the toxicology report states different. Because I know that's usually when they test like the system, so like blood, and all of that. But as of now, I'm sure that's something they still could have been able to tell. As of now, them sending her body back too. But there was no fetus. There was no baby. Thank you, Lady Locks, for the super sticker. Thank you so much, sweetheart. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Yeah, there was no fetus. There was no baby. Please hit the like. Please hit the like. Please hit the like. So I'll repeat that again for the people that's coming in. The autopsy and or coroner's report did not give us any information besides it being deferred, meaning they do not know what happened to her. They don't defer something that they know. If they know what happened, then they write what happened. They're like, look, based off this, strangulation marks, or based off the bruising, the lung collapse, the pierced lung, or heart is pierced with an blunt object to the skull due to this fracture. You know what? They know. And as far as the coroner knows, he don't know what the happened to her. They don't know. They don't know. Please hit the like. Naomi said, can the family request another autopsy? You think they will, Naomi? You think they will? Because they could. They definitely could. Did you see he cried when he performed Afterlife? Yes. Yes, multiple times. He would cry performing that song. I wonder if he told anybody what happened. Never. Again, this is a mastermind. This is somebody, David is very intellectual. Psychopaths usually are very, sorry. It's just how I said psychopaths. They're smart. They're really smart. Listen to them. Listen to
A lot
him.
of things for it.
He thought about this.
A big part of that manga
This was
wasn't
planned.
was writing a lot of things for it. And a big part of that manga was an evil version of me named Atami, which means pain in Japanese. And he wears his blindfold, and he's basically an agent of chaos and kind of my alter ego. And the story of the manga went like I was a detective, and there was an evil version of myself that would kind of come out at random moments, kind of like Fight Club with Tyler Durden. And he would commit the crimes that I would have to solve as the detective. So like when I was as the detective, I'd be like solving murders that I'm committing myself. And it was like a cool little story. I didn't think anything would come of it. Like,
how could you not think anything would come of you unaliving people and then you figuring out afterwards? So he made this into like his story, like into like an album, you know, if you will. So when you see Atami and all of his music videos, the one that is blindfolded and putting people in the back of cars and slicing off people's arms and women's arms and the music videos and, you know, all of that stuff, that's Atami. That's not him. Mm-hmm. And I believe that his mom, he crazy. And the family know. And the family know. And the family know. And the family know. Hold on. And the family knows. Again, with his record being a teenager. Because y'all look at it as like this. How he would wear these blue wigs. Because it's the same one that she had on when she was a kid. Y'all look at it as like, oh, he was so obsessed with her that he would wear the things that she would wear. No, I feel like he was mocking her. In my eyes, I feel like he's mocking her. You know, like you don't realize what's about to happen to you. You don't realize what's about to happen to you because how could you do this to this? How could you look? How could you do this? Look at her. Look at her. Look at her. Look at her. How could you do this to this beautiful little baby? How? She was a kid. She was a kid. Like, how could you do that? Like, you had to have planned it. 100%. 100%. But I believe him when he said that the doctors let him out too early. I do. I believe him. I believe him. I believe that he's psycho. I believe that his mama knew he was psycho. Hold on.
they shouldn't have done that. They shouldn't have. The doctors let me out. They shouldn't have done that. They shouldn't have done it. The doctors let me out. They shouldn't have done that. They shouldn't have done it. The doctors let me out.
Psycho. When he's a minor, we don't know what's in his report. We don't know what he did. We don't know. Only his family know. So if he done took a life before or tried to or things like that, we would have no idea. It's not public record when a minor does. It's not public. This is why the situation is being, handled so delicately because she is a minor. She's not an adult going through these things. Amara Sashana's in jail. No, and it don't look like he's going to jail anytime soon. It don't look, in my estimation, I don't see, unless something really concrete comes forward, like somebody else coming forward, like a witness, like the manager, or somebody coming forward, like, yeah, I know what happened. He did this, da-da-da. No. As of right now, unless the autopsy, unless when the deferred goes to whatever lab that it's going to go to, because I feel like it's going to go to specialist, so that specialists can try to determine what happened to her based off of the report findings. But again, her body was so decomposed. There's no way of them doing an open casket with her. There's no way. No way. And I do not believe that the family will conduct a second autopsy. I think the family, especially the mom, is completely fine with it being how it is right now. completely fine. Because at this point, unless the autopsy, that deferred judgment comes back as something else, they have nothing to move in on David. Unless the camera shows something, they don't really have anything. They don't. Hold on, we still got the rest of this YouTube to watch. Hold on, but I also, he is, and there was a report done this morning and it was from California in the LA Times. Come on, make me pay for it. Yeah, but they said he is not a suspect. Like, they don't have any suspects. As long as it's deferred, he is not going to jail. As of right now, he's not going to jail. Now, that could change, but as of right now, they have no reason to lock him up. No reason. Hold on. Why can't we not hear? Hello?
To know that a dead body does
Hold on.
not stand a chance when stuffed into the trunk of a black Tesla and left in the Los Angeles heat in August. The natural process of decomposition goes into overdrive, and so it did with Celeste Rivas Hernandez. Her body had decomposed so badly that when it was found on September 8th, one day after her 15th birthday, some reports said only a head and torso was found. Had she been dismembered? Or was the decomposition so bad that her head and torso were all that could be recognized at first? Investigators continue to list the young victim's cause and manner of death as deferred, meaning undetermined, but they've also now returned Celeste's remains to her family. So was the medical examiner able to fill in all those important blanks? Or did they have to give up looking because the answers are impossible to get? My next guest is the perfect person to ask all about this. Joseph Scott Morgan is a certified death investigator and the Distinguished Scholar of Applied Forensics at Jacksonville State University. He also hosts the extraordinarily popular podcast, Body Bags, with Joseph Scott Morgan. And he's a friend of mine and a friend of the show. It's good to have you back, Joe Scott. Let's get right to it. I just can't believe this report that the body has been returned to the family. Would they list the cause and manner of death the minute they find it? Or the fact that it's not listed and the remains have been returned, does that mean we're not going to get it?
No, I don't know that it necessarily means that we're not going to get the cause of death. I think that it might be coming, however, it might be vague. We might hear things like homicidal trauma and non-specific homicidal trauma, perhaps. But here's something I want you to understand. If you look at the flyer that they put out, when she was missing, do you notice her weight? It was 120.
Yeah.
Now,
wasn't it like 70 pounds or something crazy?
Right. When they recovered her remains, Ash, 71 pounds. That's 49 pounds she's missing. So what can we determine from that? Well, we've heard reports of dismemberment, and there was one report from the police that said the body was not intact. So either we're missing something or she's in such an advanced state of decomposition. And look, I don't want to go too far over the top here, but bodies do have a tendency to break down and even liquefy to a certain degree. And in this heat, and I even remember in August, I got friends in LA, and they were talking about it was a record-breaking heat wave that they were in during this specific period of time. And heat, as we know, speeds everything up, particularly decomposition.
Well, we all know how hot a car can get.
Yes.
This is a black Tesla. It is the trunk. It is outside, likely.
And I do want to state that while though we hope we get answers, it does not mean we will. There's no guarantee on that. They could just leave it as is. Because if it comes back like, oh, well, homicidal trauma and whatnot, that's still bad. Because that means that they still don't know. If a death cannot be determined, then how can you fully charge with someone with something that you don't even fully know happened? How are you going for first degree murder charges? Because this was super planned. How are you going for first degree murder charges and you can't even prove that they were murdered? Like, you got to prove that first. What are we charging them with? If the prosecution is going to come in, what is their defense going to be? Besides a bunch of assumptions that are on the internet. He can easily negate the things being said about their age difference and all of that by simply saying, I've been dating this woman named Celeste, she's 19 years old. People say something about Celeste being in the Discord. Celeste did have the 18 plus badge like on her profile so that you knew that she was over 18. So there's ways of negating and, you know, debunking certain stuff. But we know what we know. You know, the ones that know, you know, and we know. Okay, you was with that little girl. You were. You know what happened to that little girl. You do. Okay? Everybody in the neighborhood saw her going back and forth. The neighbor came forward and said that he saw David and Celeste all the time, that Celeste was very sweet, and that so was David. They were very nice. It was a very quiet home. It wasn't like a bunch of parties and stuff like that. They were respectful. He said, yeah, I saw them all the time, though. So there's plenty of connections, you know. But then you have David coming in to be like, no, that was her. That wasn't that Celeste. That was her. It was this girl. See, she's alive. I don't know what you're talking about. Look, this is who you saw. See what I'm saying? By creating an illusion. The illusion was having a whole bunch of, you know, Celeste around to put in the people in the mindset that you think is her, but it's really not. You know? So when people go to say to him, like, well, David, why haven't you said anything about the 16-year-old Celeste that passed away, or a 14-year-old technically, Celeste that passed away? He was like, I don't know her. I don't know her. He could easily say that. Well, I didn't speak up because I don't know who that is. Although we know different. We definitely know different. And it still gives you got something to hide. Like, I don't like this. I don't like this because we can still never figure it out.
Can you give me an idea of how fast a body can be in advanced or liquefied decomposition in that kind of an environment?
Yeah, relatively quickly. And if she's been packaged like in plastic in any way, that's also going to cause the body to sweat as well, contained within that within a plastic packaging. I'd heard some indication that that may have occurred. And again, it's literally like being in an oven. The body begins to reduce. It's like any other organic substance that you place into this environment. It's going to react and interact with the environment, and the heat and the temperature are going to dictate the rate. The problem is, Ash, is you're trying to measure this out without specific dates. You know, I begin to think about what the status of the remains.
Even that, the coroner has no idea when she died. He has no idea. This is weird. This is weird. They don't even have a date. They inconclusive. We don't know. It's like, I've seen coroners do more with less. I'm like, I've seen coroners figure out more information with less of a body. And it's what, from what it sounds like, they have her whole body. No dismember, none of that. No. Whole body. Just badly decomposed. The whole body. No torso missing, no fingers, no toes, none of that's missing. Her head is intact. Everything good. But they still have no idea. Crazy.
throughout this process. If she was compromised physically after death, if someone had attempted to do something with her body, where's the rest of it? How much was lost during this procedure? And then you couple that with the fact that she's going to be subjected to heat, that's going to even give rise to quicker decomposition.
So-
People don't realize that.
Let me be like, I'm going to go rapid fire because I have a lot of questions for you and only 2 minutes
sure.
left. But is it possible she could decompose to a point where even early investigators would think she's dismembered, but she wasn't? She's there. She's just liquefied in so many places they couldn't tell.
No, they do not throw around the term dismemberment without specific evidence of that.
Okay.
You're going to have tool marks here.
Okay. With the decomposition, can you back time of death? Would the ME be able to determine time of death?
They're only going to give you very broad strokes relative to time. Those parameters are very difficult to set, particularly this far
How
down
broad?
range, down the timeline. I'm sorry?
How broad? How broad?
I'd say probably they're not going to be able to narrow it down any more than about 3 weeks, probably.
Oh, gosh, that's not going to help. Okay, how about
So again,
toxicology?
3 weeks. So they can narrow. If we get a body within 3 weeks, then we can pretty much figure out cause. I mean, when it passed. But she had been decomposing for at least 2. So she's been dead longer than that. And if they didn't write any of that. They didn't write when she passed, what day they think she passed, the time frame, between the 17th and the 20th, between these times. Like, they don't know. They don't know. Girl, they have no idea. No idea.
The advanced state of decomposition, will they be able to tell if she OD'd or if she was OD'd? I mean, there's a homicide version of being overdosed, and then there's an accidental suicide of overdose. Will they be able to tell
Right.
if there's drugs involved?
Yeah, there's 2 things that we do, just so that everybody understands. At this point in time, you're not going to do a blood draw. It's going to be probably worthless. You're going to go to the organs. What we do is we take samples of the liver and of the brain, and those will be spun down in a centrifuge. Now, what you will be able to do is you can get a qualifying amount, but you're not going to be able to get a quantified amount. So if you're looking for an OD, basically all they'll be able to say is that, yes, there were these drugs in her system, but you can't give a specific number relative to therapeutic range versus OD range.
Okay, the next question's a big one because a lot of people are asking.
Okay. Again, people are saying in the chat, I understand. Dismembered, things like that, cut up, as far as the coroner said, her body was intact. So she was not in pieces. None of that. Her body was intact. The coroner said badly decomposed. Not dismembered. The coroner does not have dismemberment nowhere in the report. That is why it's been deferred. If people felt like, if they felt like she was truly dismembered, then that would be a part of them having to figure out, was she alive or deceased when it happened? Either way, she was dismembered. So that's criminal out the gate. But her body being intact but badly decayed makes it deferred, meaning we don't know exactly what's what. It's different when you're getting a body, even if it's in parts. It's still easier for them to conduct their autopsy. Is easier to do. Well, not autopsy, because that's more so just like removing, organs and stuff like that. But it's part of it, because they do check the organs and whatnot for certain things for the toxicology report. Like he just said, brain and Laverne, something like that. And so yeah. That's not good though. Because this is why he hasn't been arrested. They can't arrest him. Cause and effect. Cause, you took somebody's life. The effect is you going to jail. The effect is us coming to arrest you. But here again, this is why I'm thinking something weird is going on. Why I'm thinking something weird is going on, yo. That ass, he still broke the law. It's not hard to put 2 and 2 to equal 4. 2 plus 2 is, he knew that girl, he was seeing that girl, made songs about that girl, did live streams with that girl. That happened. The family has stated that they knew that she was with him. The mother wrote in the missing person report that she had a boyfriend named David. So the brother stated that not only did he know David, but he met David. He said he met you, so he can't say that he didn't know Celeste. Celeste's brother stated, I met him. Met him. Through Celeste. Not bump into him at a grocery store, something like that. No. So he can't say that that's not Celeste, that he don't know her. When it's proven that they have been in contact with each other since she was 11 years old. That can be proven. Proof backing that. And he's still not even arrested for that. So he's just going to get away with everything. All of it. I can see them holding back on the murder charges until the deferred autopsy or coroner's report is reviewed and updated. I get it. But taking advantage of that girl, her living there, there's witnesses that are living in the neighborhood that say, yes, we saw her all the time. Grocery store owners, corner store owners that saw this girl on their camera coming in and out of the store buying items and returning back to that same home over there at the Airbnb that they were renting. There's text messages of her stating that she did have SDX with David. She said that that was the first time she bled. Super graphic, super unnecessary, but proof. Proof. Red-handed. Hand in the cookie jar. And no arrest. Not even for that? So I'm not supposed to think nothing weird is going on. This is all normal. No, it's not. No, it's not. Something très bizarre is happening. And not because like I want him to go to jail. It's not like a attack him, coming for him. No, it's been proven you were with a little girl. What is wrong with you? It's not just her having her whole life ahead of her. You had your whole life ahead of you too. You're only 20. You're only 20 years old. Making mistakes that 40-year-olds aren't making. So something is off with this. I do feel like he's getting a certain protection. And I do think that this was super planned. This was planned. Like, we gonna sit here and weigh out all the pros and cons and whatnot. And most people can't fake certain emotion, right? So the best heartbreak songs are by people singing the songs whose hearts were really broken. Like what in that moment, like I'm going through and I'm singing a song. You can feel it, you know, like in the music. I believe that's what Celeste was. David was a trash artist. He was. Celeste inspired him to be better, but not inspire him to be better because of her being like a muse or something like that. Inspired her to be better because he was going to kill her. I believe David sat there thinking, like, I've always had this fantasy about letting the inner devil in me out. You know, with those psychopaths and sociopaths, it's another person in them, always knocking on the door, waiting for them to open it so they can go out, you know. But they are told to cage that person. You know, when you have thoughts of this and thoughts of that, you know, put it in this little box and put it away. You know, so that's what he was doing with Atami. He was putting Atami in a box because his whole family knew that he is psycho. Okay? So he kept putting Atami in a box. So he's had many years, you know, to plot, you know, and whatnot. And then he meets her. Now, anime characters look a lot younger than what they really are. So you're looking at anime versus watching like The Simpsons and Family Guy and all, they're aged. You know, like their characters actually like, Peter looks like a grown man, you know, and whatnot. Chris and what's name them, they look like teenagers, you know, they look, you know, compared to, you know, the other ones in the show. But with anime, everybody looks so much younger, you know, than what they are, you know. So I believe that that's why he probably like chose her. She's like a character, you know, like in his mind. Like she's perfect, you know, like she's the perfect sacrifice. And he chose her right there, like it's gonna be her. And then he got to know her to make sure it's going to be her. This is when the grooming comes in. And he used her as a muse in that way. So I'm gonna use you to carry out this plan. And the plan is ultimately to be better in music, but to let Atami out. Jekyll and Hyde. So he let Atami out through his music. That's why you see Atami in the music videos. You see Atami in his promo. You see Atami everywhere. Like, but musically. He's not sitting there doing an interview as Atami. He hides him. Because Tommy, the things that he wants to do, the things that he's into, blow your mind. Scares most people. So he has to keep it inside. And the only person he trusted to show Atami was her. That's why she's dead. She saw Atami. And I don't believe that she's the only one. If he was clever enough to do this and get away with doing it with her, I don't believe this is his first rodeo. I don't. I don't think this is the first time he's done this. Just an assumption. But I don't think it's the first time. I think this is why he's literally happy right now. You know, with the results and everything going on. Psychopaths like to leave breadcrumbs and riddles and things for people to figure out. This is why he says he will commit the crimes as Atami and have to solve his own murders, have to solve it himself. He would figure it out. That's the whole point. So yeah, he loving this. Loving it. And he knew he would get away with it. That's why he did it on this scale. I do think that he had guinea pigs before her. He do. And I do believe he's been in psychiatric wards or hospitals before. There's something wrong with him, like you can tell. Some people just have this energy, you know, about them. And they learn, eventually, how to mirror what happens in society. It's acting. It's not who they really are. And so you'll walk up to David and he seemed like the nicest person. Like, oh, I just met him. He's the sweetest guy. Like, da 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 da. You know, he's so nice and polite and all of that. And so that has you confused in your mind. Like, oh, he would never do anything like that. Oh, no, I just met him. And looks can be very deceiving. Very deceiving. You know. So, although Dexter wasn't real, it did teach people a lot about sociopaths because a lot of that was true, you know, and what was being said. He had to act the human experience instead of just living it, gaining real feelings and real emotions for people, you know, telling them that you love them and all that. It doesn't mean that you do. They're words. See, their words will show, but see, a person that's a sociopath, they don't know how to show it with action. They'll tell you all day long, you know, that they love you and whatnot. It's a repeated behavior. But actually showing it, they have a hard time doing that, mimicking that part, because it's supposed to come naturally. It's called the human experience. You know, you upset your girl, buy her flowers or candy, you know, something like that. That's the natural human experience. So with me, that's probably just something I would do just because, rather watch the movie or something and feel the need to. A sociopath is not like that. They're not wired that way. It's more so of their anal. Everything is critical, you know, into the book. They're very specific with things because they're acting. You know, it's not the natural human experience. So I think that's, and I think his family knows that. When he showed his mom that video, if your son doesn't have any ill will or he's not crazy or anything like that, I mean, who cares if he makes a video like that? Who cares? You know, not a big deal. But if you feel like this is opening up a can of worms, meaning you're journeying back to a place in life to where we worked really hard to get you from, then you may be like, yeah, maybe you should pull back on that. You know, so instead of him pulling back, like he said, he went and, you know, start conniving and, you know, immediately behind her back. You know what? So it's like, yeah, you give psycho. And I believe that he concocted a very good plan and how to get away with this, you know. Think about it. I've said this before. Who gains the most with Celeste passing away in David's life? David, Celeste's mother, and David's manager. David's manager will want her gone because she's too young and she can ruin everything. Probably his biggest artist that he manages. Don't want that to go bye-bye. Don't want that to go bye-bye. I mean, Selena got unalived by a bitch that ran her fan club. You understand me? That hoe just ran a fan club. That's it, and was stealing from that. And still took Selena out. Still took our girl out. So people will do a lot to stay in that world. They will. They'll do a lot. So who knows how much involvement he had. And again, he stands to gain with her dead. He ain't got to worry about her no more. Same thing with Celeste's mother. She don't have to worry about her anymore. They're running away, stuff like that. Like, I got to worry about nobody finding out that, you know, I basically gave him to you. You to him, I mean, blah, blah, blah. And then David. No one finds out that you've been dating her since she was 11 and grooming her for blah, blah. You gain a lot. You gain a lot. So why wouldn't the police be looking into those same people? Well, it's been deferred.
Are throwing it out there without proof that Celeste might have been pregnant.
Yeah.
But we've seen this before, right? Girlfriend gets
Yes.
pregnant, boyfriend doesn't want the baby, and things go sideways. Not saying it happened with David and Celeste. However, with advanced decomposition, if she were pregnant, could the investigators tell that?
Yeah, the key is going to be the uterus here. I think I don't know how much information we could get relative to hormonal changes, which are things that we look for in pregnancy, right? In the postpartum state, though, what you're going to be looking for is the uterus. Does the uterus survive? Is it still there, or has it been done away with? If it's there, there might be some histological changes you could appreciate, but I wouldn't hold my breath on that.
Okay, again, so if she was pregnant, we would know. The coroner's report would have stated she was pregnant, unless they paid the coroner to get rid of the fetus. Unless they paid him to get rid of it again. She was not pregnant. There was no baby in her uterus. It did not say that her uterus was missing. None of that. Her body was intact. She was not missing any organs, none of that. This is what makes it so eerie. Someone said, I think she had the baby. It was from the time where they stated that she was pregnant, it was from a year back. So it's possible. If she had it last year or at the beginning of this year, possible. But as far as they know, or as far as they seen, her uterus was intact. It did not say, because they put those type of things in coroner's reports and also autopsies. If there's organs missing, it's going to state that in the autopsy. It's also going to state that in the coroner's report too. There is no missing organs, and there's also no missing uterus. There's no missing torso. None of that. There also are no severed limbs. It didn't say anything about any dismemberment in the coroner's report nor autopsy. So, girl.
If the uterus is not intact, there's no way to tell just from the liquefied remains if the hormonal changes are there or if evidence of pregnancy is there?
I think that would be very, very difficult. Those tests are very, very sensitive, and this far down range, I don't know if that's going to be possible.
Okay, if it is possible, if her uterus, because they did say they found a torso, so
Yeah.
if her uterus was intact and they are able to determine if she's pregnant, if she were pregnant, would they be able to determine paternity, even in advanced decomposition?
Oh, excellent question. That's really difficult to determine. I would say probably not at this
Yeah,
point.
so there was, from what I'm gathering, there was no dismemberment because that was not listed. The badly decomposition made it so that certain parts of her body was liquefied. That usually gets heat, melting. The body is dead, so there's nothing to keep it alive. There's no blood flowing. No, all that's done. So she was so decomposed. So the decomposition was so bad that since her weight was so low, again, the missing persons report and ad had that she weighed 120 pounds. When they weighed her body, when they got her body and brought it in, it was only 70 pounds. So it was given about 50 pounds of her was decompositioned and destroyed, damaged while decomposing in the vehicle. So about 50 pounds of her melted off. Not severed limbs, not a chainsaw to the body, chainsaw marks, none of that. Okay, so that's where the dismemberment comes in, was that basically a lot of her was missing due to liquid. So it was liquefied, meaning like there was liquid and stuff in the bags and or outside of the bags and spilled into the vehicle. Not she was chopped up. So when they say that they found a torso, that means a lot of her body was deteriorating or deteriorated. Okay. That's what that were. Not literal dismemberment. So the police may use dismemberment with a situation like this with the body liquefying because they can't see that or know that just upon glance. So to them, only seeing certain parts of her, they're going to think like, oh, she's dismembered, or she was chopped up, or, you know, part of her body's missing. Where's the rest of her leg? Where's the rest of her arm? Or, you know, stuff like that. And she, again, she was a small thing. She was little. You know, this wasn't a 5'8", 5'9", 170, 180 pound girl. Like, this wasn't that type of situation. You know, she was 120 pounds wet. So, yeah, that's where that's coming from. So, it's not, I wouldn't say with the police it's misinformation. It's just that they didn't know that it was like, I don't think they've never seen that before, but it was record heat. Normally, if the heat was normal outside, like between, I would say like the 80s and maybe 100, it wouldn't have been as bad. But with it being so hot outside, yeah, it was bad. So yeah, with it being deferred, we don't know what happened. She could have gotten in the back of the car and or got in front of the trunk joking around or looking for some trunk clothes, and she died in there because she was little. So it wasn't like she was a big girl that somebody had to definitely force her in there and force her to stay. No. So they're looking at it in multiple ways. Like, was she hiding in there or something like that? And messed around, passed away, couldn't get out. I don't know. The front of the car was damaged a little bit. The side of the car was damaged too. Crazy. Yeah, no, we're not doing that.
Particularly if they can't recover a fetus. And, you know, we've heard all kinds of wild rumors about this sort of thing. And I don't know that anything is going to be there. They haven't released that information yet. So I'm going to be sitting around just like you, waiting to hear more info from the medical examiner. I wouldn't hold my breath, though. I'd say that we've probably still got 4 to 6 weeks before we're going to hear anything. They're going to try to test every possible item that they recovered at autopsy, and not just that, but they're going to be exploring cause of death here. Her neck muscles, strap muscles, hyoid, and also anything.
Yeah, I agree. Bones don't liquefy, but you have to imagine being inside of a car for that long. Bones are not like for real attached to each other. They're not. Muscles, the tendons, all of that stuff is what connects our bones and what keeps our bones, you know, together. If all of that is liquefying, then the bones are going to shift and move around, you know, and all of that. So then when you open up a car and you see a shifted, melting body, you're not going to think that she's melting. You're going to think decomposition. You're going to think that things are, because you see parts of the body, like you see the whole torso, but only one arm's attached, or you just see what, like, and then it's like the body, like everywhere, kind of like smushed around, you know? So it's not like our bodies are like our skeletons, our bones are truly like connected to each other. Like, no, there's other things holding them in place. And she was a frail girl. So with those things liquefying, the bones are gonna move around. They're not just gonna stay right there. It's not gonna happen. You gotta be able to tell where the bones were to be able to tell if there was a dismemberment or something like that. So that's why I said I just think it was the confusion of the police seeing a body that wasn't fully intact, you know, and thinking like, oh, you know, parts of her was cut off, you know, things like that, you know. So I think that's where the dismemberment comes in. Not she, you know, because it would be more specifics, you know, dismembered. She was chopped up. The arms were removed from the body. The legs were removed. The skeleton spine, the head was severed. Like, there's certain things that they would say if she was truly dismembered. That's why people were confused, because they're like, okay, well, we're hearing that they just found certain body parts. So hearing that they found certain body parts, you're going to assume naturally that she's been cut up. Because why isn't she all the way together? Like, what do you mean you found a torso? What do you mean you found a leg? Or what does that mean? You know? So I think that that's where that confusion comes in, but there was no literal dismemberment. No.
To skeletal structure. Did she have a skull fracture in any way? Or was there any kind of bullet trauma? A lot to be learned from here.
Yeah, I've got 10 seconds left, but I've got to ask you. It was in the impound lot for only a couple of days. It was abandoned street side for about 5. So let's just say around 8 days in the hot sun in Los Angeles. How advanced do you expect her decomposition to be? And how many answers do you think we will get?
Yeah, very advanced. You're going to have significant, what's referred to as skin slippage. I still have this idea. I don't know that her body was in that car the entire time. Was it in a structure somewhere else? And then people wanted to get separation from the body as the body began to turn. Put it in the car, move it down the street, get rid of the smell, get rid of the body, but yet be able to keep an eye on it.
It's why you are so popular with your podcast, Body Bags.
And I believe that David did want to keep an eye on the body. Why would he not want to keep an eye on the body? Like, he planned this carefully. So why would he not want to know when she's found? How I know David has something to do with this and that he wanted to get caught. Why was she in your car? He could have went and bought a little lemon. He could have rented a car. He could have had somebody else rent a car. He could have bought a little cheap car off the street. Craigslist or something. If it's just to store a body, why put it in the Tesla? Why? Why make videos about unaliving the same person? Thank you so much, Tasha. I love you, sweetheart. Thank you so much, Tasha. I love you. I will keep it up, babes. I gotta love you. Thank you so much, sweetie. His test that where I live more, that's what I'm saying. That's on purpose. That's deliberate. Because it being in your car, you know it's going to be connected to you. What is the point of if his manager did this to put it in his car? You wouldn't want to connect it to your client at all if you're trying to protect your client. If you're trying to make it so that he don't get in any trouble, and why put it in his car? That's stupid. If you don't want it to be connected to it, how could you not? A body being found in a car is licensed and registered to your client. How you getting out of that? How you getting out of that? Maybe he was framing David. If he was framing David, he would be fired. He would be fired. And that's not a smart way to frame someone. Not at all. Because David has alibis. He was on tour. But guess what? So was his manager. He was with him. So David has an alibi, depending on what day she passed. If he was on stage, he was simply on stage. If she passed at 7:53 and he was backstage and came on stage at 7:51, that's probably an alibi he need. If when her life was being taken, he can prove that he was on that stage, like, hell yeah. If he can do that, then he's good. So I really don't believe that somebody's framing David. Why would David be singing songs that he's writing about being in jail and being in the back of a police car and all of that stuff? And then have this character that he knows, again, the character that he created knows, Atami knows that the detective, which is the other personality of David, is going to find out what he did. Is going to figure it out. Do you think the neighbors have turned over camera footage that may have? Yes, I think that anybody that can help is helping. I just don't think that it's going to come to the forefront. This was planned very well. Very well. Because this is what everybody's been waiting on. What everybody's been waiting on. And they still have time. The funeral is until October 4th. So the medical examiner still had plenty of time to check other stuff. He didn't. He said, I'm done. We're done. Our findings deferred. We don't know why she's gone. Further investigation is due. That could take months. And then who's to say that they're going to find anything? When they do look, they ain't find nothing this time. If we feel like somebody behind the scenes doing something, working some type of magic for David, you think that's going to stop? Because if David is not charged, what does that say about all of the people like Crocs that have canceled his endorsement, and whatnot, and all of the tour companies and whatnot that pulled out on him and whatnot, the label, like, wouldn't this be like a massive lawsuit? Wouldn't this be like a massive lawsuit? He lost all of this money because the internet said that he took the life of a girl, and that's not true. And all these people just jumped ship just because what the internet was saying. Doesn't say, why don't they check for fingerprint on the car and trunk? I think a camera will do it more justice. And the camera company, well, at the Airbnb that he stayed in, there was multiple surveillance cameras, but the owner said that he does not watch the cameras or have any access to the cameras because he don't want to creep the people out that were staying in the home, renting the home, or staying there as an Airbnb. He didn't want to creep them out, so he got a surveillance company. So if they want to see surveillance of anything, they just contact the company, and then the company will, So that's helpful. So if anything did happen, yes, the rental that they had was technically an Airbnb, but you can rent them out. Like, you can, be like, it was $20,000 a month, but yeah, you can rent it out. Same thing as a rental, just like with a private owner instead of, But yeah, so he was staying there. Teslas have cameras around the car. Correct. They do. They do. Now, they could get a warrant on David's home, being a suspect at the time, but even after the raid, they haven't filed any charges. They went in there, they were checking the drains and whatnot for blood residue and checking the house for blood splatter, all that stuff. They didn't find anything. If they found something, they would still be treating this as a homicide. As long as it's deferred, they can't technically treat it that way anymore unless they get something concrete. Unless somebody comes forward with some real information. Because as of now, David is not a suspect. There are no suspects. Because they can't even prove her manner of passing. They don't know. So, waiting on the coroner's report, they could treat it as a homicide. But since they have the coroner's report, and the coroner's report does not give evidence of a homicide, they can't conduct the investigation like that anymore. How can they still treat David as a potential suspect if they have nothing concrete to say, like, yeah, we saw you putting a body in a car and whatnot? Maybe the Tesla camera footage. Now, I don't know if they have the right to, maybe they can try to subpoena it, but I don't know how that works with Tesla. I don't know. They may say it's by owner's request, even if it's something as simple as watching somebody, seeing who put a body in a car and whatnot. And you can also turn the cameras off on Teslas. I can do it on my BMW. So if I can turn the camera off on my car, you can turn the camera off on Teslas too. And I can guarantee you that Tesla, that those cameras were not on. And I feel like they turned the cameras off before the body got put in the car. I think it's footage all the way up until the day she died, or all the way up until the day they decided to put her body inside of that car. I believe they turned those cameras off. I think this is why he wasn't worried about them finding the Tesla. Go like, go ahead. Go get it. He ain't trying to get the car, nothing. Can't forget about the car. I believe he turned those cameras off but it's just going to go right before, either a few days before or a day before they decided to move the body or put the body into the car. 100%. Shout out to Live More. She says, yes, you can deactivate Sentry mode in a Tesla. Yes. So you can turn the cameras off. So when people are just like, oh, well, what about the Tesla and the cameras in the Tesla? It doesn't mean that they were on. It doesn't. And it also doesn't mean that she was unalived inside of the home. Because if David and them see that there's surveillance, I'm sure the owner told them about the surveillance because you see cameras. So why wouldn't you, ask? And if he said that it's a surveillance company that they don't have, then it could have happened somewhere else. And then David's manager was renting that house. The owner said he didn't even know David was there. He said he didn't even know. He just thought it was the manager. He didn't know David was there. David wasn't listed like in any of the paperwork or anything like that to be staying there. Neither was Celeste. That's why they were staying there. The manager was helping David be with Celeste. He was assisting. Enabler. Enabler. Because where was he going to move her and people not notice that they're together? It's a little bit easier to be inconspicuous staying with somebody versus the But he was definitely helping because the owner had no idea that David was staying there or Celeste. He didn't know nothing about them. Not at all. He said he checked in here and there. Well, oh boy, he was paying the rent and all of that. Hey, I know me, I'm the same way. I'll be the same way as a landlord. Look, I'll be all up in the business. As long as you're clean, you don't destroy my property, and you're paying your rent on time, we good. That's how I'm gonna be. Like, I'm not gonna be all up in your business. To me, that's a turn off. It makes people not want to live on your property and whatnot. Like, make them not want to stay there. So it's just like, I'm definitely gonna give you your space to be grown. Like, do you? I don't care if you have 15 girls in there once and you smash them. I'll go right ahead, just clean up when you're done. So I look at it, whatever. I would hope that you wouldn't be bringing underage people, into my home and stuff like that. But you're renting it, so you're renting it, it belongs to you until further notice. But yeah. So it doesn't mean that anything happened to her there. Doesn't mean it could have. It could have. Mm-hmm. But it could have happened somewhere else, and her body was found in our car. Cars moved. They said the car moved multiple times. Who knows when the body was actually put in there? Was it the body in there the first time the car was moved? Or did the car move because it's the second time it went to get the body? Or the third time when it was taken outside of that little parking spot and put back onto the street? Who knows? And then the neighbors don't remember which exact days because the car sat out there for quite some time. So they don't remember exactly which day. Like, the first day we saw it out here was August 2nd, or they don't know. It sat out there for a long time. So it's easy to lose track of days when it's been out here for, Girl, her friend's last reported hearing from her August 24th, correct. The same day as the concert. That's what the concert that they said that they saw her at, which was not Celeste. It was one of her doppelgangers. I believe that she was unalived the 23rd coming into the 24th, or the actually who all of the two friends that said that they were in contact with Celeste was via text message. How do we know that was Celeste sending the text messages? They didn't say they talked to her on the phone. They just said via text that we spoke to her. They never said we had a long phone conversation or we talked on the phone for a few minutes so that they knew she was alive. No, it was via text. So anybody could have sent that to her friends, trying to throw them off. Because who's to say that it happened on the 23rd? We could have took her out at the end of July, but still just texting certain people. When people text her, still had her phone and would just text them back. So this is why it's important to find out when she passed away so we can decipher what was her and what was somebody else. We can't decipher because we don't know when she died. We don't know. So with the again, the majority of the people that was talking to her was via DM and via text message. It wasn't on the phone. She wasn't having phone conversations with these people. So there's that. You know, with the new gen, they do a lot of texting. You know, they don't do the phone calls. You know, like how we are. You know, the 80s babies. You know, we call before we text. The new gen is quick to text you before they call. So, crazy work. Crazy work. Okay, I have to run over and I'm going to try to do a coffee really quick before we head over to Choose Your Shot tonight on Tasha K. Shout out to Tasha K. Rest in peace to Celeste. Thank y'all so much for being here. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. We will be back in the morning with more. I have a surviving dropping tomorrow too. I'm back home, so I'm running, not sitting still. Like taking off running, feet to the pavement. So we will be back tomorrow with more on this story. Hopefully we get more updates as we go along. But I love you guys. And again, rest in peace to Celeste. And it's just a super sad situation. But until the next time, I love you all. Bye.